Okay, before we got interrupted by the internet gods there, we were talking about our relationship.
Sure.
And 4 or 5 years ago, you and I were working together, and there was a couple of years that lapsed, and then we met up again. And I remember looking at you and thinking, God, Sam looks like
hell.
Well, no, but I mean, no, it looked like the weight of the world had been dumped on your shoulders. Sure. And I remember talking to you, and you told me. Actually, you told me two things. You told me about your sister, and then about your daughter, and then about your daughter's best friend. And I remember standing there thinking, oh my God, it just seemed like so overwhelming from an outsider's perspective. And then a couple years later, we're at the Mark Lundholm show, or unbeknownst to one another,
right.
And I turn around, and there you are, and there I am, and it's like. And you're like, what are you doing here? And I knew what you were doing there, but you're like, I'm like, well, I just got out of Brighton, and Mark Lundholm was the first person from the outside, quote unquote, that made me laugh, that kind of brought laughter back into my life. Yeah. And it's just such a small world.
It is.
A couple questions for you that I've had that I've kind of been kicking around. We talk about this disease being non-discriminatory.
Sure.
Cultural aspects of the disease. Now, you and I are both Americans, red-blooded Americans. And we were talking earlier about Bill Cosby, who said that, I don't consider myself an African American. I'm a black American. I don't have any more ties to Africa than I have to Ireland.
Sure.
And my ancestry, my genetic background is Irish. And I'm very proud of that. But you hear about the Irish virus, and thank God I was blessed with that. Going back, you look at the Native Americans, and it was firewater. You look at different cultures, and it's either embraced as a badge of courage or a badge of honor, or I can drink. There was a great movie, a funny movie. The same guys that were in Reno 911 did Beer Fest, and they were talked about. They lost, but they beat the Irish in this drinking competition. Sure. What has been your experience culturally? I mean, and I'm just curious about this. Is there a cultural difference in the way we are raised and how we deal with this as far as families, or does that also not matter?
I don't think so. Everybody has their heritage,
right?
But as far as dealing with this, it's like a bomb goes off within the family. Everybody is touched.
Well, it's a family disease, and that's the other thing people don't realize. Definitely. They think, I'm the one who has the disease, so treat me. Well, you need to treat the family.
Yeah. I was telling you earlier that I had a couple sisters that went through this, and the one sister, she was an addict for a long time before she got hurt. Before she got help. And my father, it's like it was coming, it was against him. He feels like, right. Because you don't love me, you're doing this.
Or what did I do wrong?
Yeah, and it's just finally now that, because I've educated myself, that I can tell my father, hey, this is them.
Right.
To be honest with you, my daughter came home 3 weeks before she died, and as a parent, I told my daughter, I feel like I've let you down somehow, and she said, Daddy, I don't ever feel like that. This was all me. You were a great parent. But no matter what, I still lost her. I feel like I did. I wasn't there for her. I didn't protect her enough, or somehow. And I'm glad that I got that opportunity, with her to really, because it's hell, man. It's 2 years of madness, so much anger. And one time I turned her to protective services, trying to protect my other two children from her, from the people that she was hanging with and stuff. And they took her to this runaway place, and they called me from there. They said, she can't stay here. She's messed up, you know? And I'm like, it's upon you, you know, you deal with her, you know? So I have this lady from Protective Services, she's on the phone, and he says, Protective Services wants to talk to you. And she says, Mr. Jahari, you know, you can't pick and choose your child. If you're going to leave her here, we're going to take your other 2 kids away. I said, yeah.
Oh, that's insane.
You in what army? She said, are you threatening me? I said, no, I'm promising you. You know, if you think you're going to come take my 2 kids, you're going to have World War III on your hands. And I'm promising you this is what's going to happen. At that point, I was so pissed off at her, I hung up, and I turned and I walked away, and I still get this in my ear, my daughter calling, I'm still your daughter. I'm still your daughter. It's like...
No, Sam, I think I've mentioned this every week when we're in the schools, and for those people who haven't seen the live presentation for Chasing the Dragon, you know, it starts out with, you know, one of the most heart-wrenching things to listen to. For me, I can't, as I've said to you and your wife, I can't even imagine how you guys, you know, go through that every week. And then I thought about that as I said it, and I'm saying, you know, who am I kidding? They don't go through that every week. They go through that every day. You know, as I say again every week, no parent should have to bury a child. And, you know, from the community parent side of things, Sam, you have the knowledge, as I have the knowledge, that we are changing lives. We are affecting lives for the better. I was kind of curious before we did the first presentation, or before the first presentation that I was involved in. I'm thinking to myself, how would I have taken this presentation as a 10th grader, 11th grader, senior in high school? And these kids sit in just rapt attention. I mean, they are just, you could hear a pin drop, you know, in these auditoriums. You know, I know we don't have a tremendous amount of time today, you know, left, and I know, you know, we're going to be back, and you know, we are going to encourage people to call in and send questions in to joincommunityparent.org. They can email us, you know, through Community Parent. But you know, one thing, as we probably have, you know, 5, 6, 7 minutes left, is what has been, if you could change one thing about the presentation that we do, or about not the message, because the message is genuine, it's authentic. I mean, there is no script. Yeah. We talk about that all the time. You know, we have ideas about what we want to say on a given day, and then inevitably you walk off and you say to me, Charlie, I forgot to say this. And I'm doing the same thing to Rob or to Alvin. I'm like, oh God, you know, because you get out there and your eyes will lock with some kid in the 4th row who's just sitting there in tears.
Sure.
And anything you were going to say, it just goes away.
I think that the message is, you know, they absorb it, is because most of them are feeling it. You know, they can relate to what we're saying because it's happening in their own families. And a lot of them, they come up and they tell you. A sister, a brother, a mother, you know, a father, so they can relate. Yeah. Because there is no family that's not being touched by drugs and alcohol. No. You know, and I don't do this for me. You know, every time I do that presentation, I feel like I'm going to bury her. I get sick to my stomach, and you know, I can't wait for that to end the presentation. But then when the kids are coming out and they're giving me hugs and stuff like that, it's like, this is why I do it. Right. And the big thing is, I don't want no other parent to feel the pain I feel every day, because when somebody of your family dies, a part of you goes with them. And I live with this hole in my heart, and I don't wish this on my worst enemy.
Yeah, well, we were just down at the middle school in Fenton last week.
Yes.
AGS, and the interesting thing there was, because of the age of the kids, they allowed us to go into the classroom afterwards, kind of like do a debriefing.
Yeah.
And it's been the first opportunity where we've had, of the presentations that I've been involved in, where we've had a chance to be really truly interactive.
Yes.
And these kids will say to you, why do you get up there and they're glad, but they're like, why do you get up there and bare your soul?
Yeah.
Why do you get up there and you say this? And you've got Brianna's story, and you're honoring her memory, and you're trying to prevent other kids, other parents, other families, other friends from going through this. And the same thing, I say, I don't want any other parents to go through what I put my parents through. I don't want any other kids to go through what I put my kids through. I don't want any other partners, spouses to go through what I put mine through. And it's only through education that we can do this.
Sure.
It's not through incarceration. It's education.
Definitely. And just want to let our listeners know that we are going to be at Bendel High School this Monday, the 14th at 1 o'clock. The 21st, we are going to be at Goodrich Middle School at 8:30. The 28th, we are going to be at Beecher High School at 9:30, and then May 5th and May 12th we're going to be at Northwestern and Southwestern. Please come out, join us.
Yeah, those are open to the public.
Yes.
I was going to ask that because I was just in case you have a listener out there who's in the area, wants to stop in.
Yes. Yeah.
We welcome everybody, and so does the schools. They welcome anybody to come in. It's reach out for us if you're having problems with a sibling or a child, or even if you have a problem. We do have Odyssey House and Brighton Hospital. They're for help. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Please join us on communityparent.org and come see us at the schools. And we are looking at having a couple presentations, like evenings for parents.
I wanted to touch on that real briefly. I know we only have a minute or two left, but you and I have, we started to discuss that, and I think that's the biggest piece. There's two pieces, in my opinion, that are missing. The fact that we cannot talk about the spiritual solution in the public schools during the 9 to 5.
Sure.
And we're reaching the students. We're absolutely reaching the students, but the parents aren't present.
Right.
And that's going to be real important. I think those are really the missing pieces that are going to take this from being a very successful program and movement and bring it to the next level.
Sure.
So,
again, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, folks.